Hello everyone, I am Agao and welcome to our SPSS tutorial about dependent and independent t-test. First, let's have a quick comparison between dependent t-test and independent t-test. Dependent t-test is also known as paired t-test. Before treatment and after treatment experiments, dependent t-test used the same respondents, and it will produce pairs of observations. On the other hand, independent t-test is about comparing two sample means where the samples have been controlled independently. Take note that one of the most common examples of studies that uses dependent t-test and independent t-test are those which have pre-test and post-test scores. So for this tutorial, we will be using IBM SPSS Statistics version 23. So when you open the software, first thing that you need to click is the IBM SPSS Advanced Statistics. After that, the SPSS software will give us its two main features, which are the data view and the variable view. Data view is used in order for us to encode or to input our data. For our variable view, it is used to label the variables that we will going to use in our study. So the first part of our tutorial is about dependent t-test. And the study that we will going to use is entitled The Effect of Teaching English Pronunciation Through Songs of Pratham Suksa for Students at Wat Ratchapatigaram School in Bangkok, Thailand. So here is the link for the full PDF of this study. So we will going to use the objective to determine the significant difference of pre-test and post-test scores in teaching English pronunciation through songs of Pratham Suksa for students. So what we need to do is, first, we have to copy variables or the data that we have for this study. Copy all the data and paste it on our data view. So as you see, for this study, we have 30 respondents. Let's proceed with the variable view so that we could label our variables. So as you see on the first column here, yung nag-start siya ng 10 na data, ito yung ating pre-test. This is our pre-test scores. Next on the second column is the post-test scores. Now let's proceed to the actual solving of dependent t-test using SPSS. So first thing that we need to click is analyze. Next, compare means. And based on our comparison a while ago, dependent t-test is also known as paired samples t-test. Again, click analyze. Next, compare means. Then, paired samples t-test. Okay, so let's click pre-test. Next, variable 2 natin ay ang post-test. Okay, before clicking the word OK here, kailangan muna natin i-make sure that our level of significance is based doon sa ating study na kinuha. So, for our dependent t-test, yung study, it used significant level 0.01. So, in order to make sure na 0.01 yung ating level of significance, we just need to click options. Then, confidence interval percentage. Ang nakalagay dito is 95%. Therefore, This is just equivalent to 0.05 level of significance, and we need to modify it to 99. Okay, just click OK. uh, Continue rather. Then next is OK. So let's just wait for the output of dependent t-test. Okay, SPSS will give us three different tables regarding paired samples t-test. So dito dalawa lang yung kailangan natin, the first and the third table. So we just need to copy paired samples statistics and paired samples test tables. Just right click and click the word copy. Just like this one. Okay. So the most important figure na kailangan natin dito is the significant value in two-tailed, which is 0.000. Next, after natin makuha yung table, we need to formulate our null and alternative hypothesis. Okay, so for our null hypothesis, let's state that the pre-test scores and post-test scores are equal. For our alternative hypothesis, the pre-test scores and post-test scores are not equal. Second, our alpha is equivalent to 0.01. So for our decision, based on the table, the significant value in two-tailed is 0.000, which is less than our alpha 0.01. Therefore, the table showed that the null hypothesis is rejected. Remember that whenever the value of the significant here is less than the value of our alpha, automatically the null hypothesis will be rejected. So what will be our conclusion? Hence, there is significant difference on the pre-test and post-test scores of the students before and after teaching English pronunciation through songs of Pratham Suksa for students at alpha equal to 0.01. Therefore, the pre-test scores and the post-test scores are not equal. They are not equal since the null hypothesis is rejected. Okay, that ends the first part of our tutorial about dependent t-test. Now let's proceed to independent t-test. Let's have a quick outlook of the study that we will going to use for independent t-test. The study is entitled The Impact of Tests on Learners' Test Anxiety. So for this study, the researcher used a lot of factors to test the learner's test anxiety, but I only chose for about gender kasi yun lang yung pwede nating gamitan ng independent t-test. So, the objective for independent t-test is to determine the significant difference between gender and test anxiety. So, balik muna tayo doon sa ating SPSS software. We need to have a new set of data. And for us to get that, we need to click the word File, next New, and then click the word Data. Again, click File, next is New, then Data. Okay, so let's copy our data for independent t-test. Just like the dependent t-test, we also have 30 participants for this one. Okay, now let's proceed to our variable view in order for us to label our variables. On our first column here, it is about gender. Next, second column is about test anxiety. Okay, so our gender is divided into two. We have two classification, male and female. Okay, so in order for us to solve independent t-test, we need to click analyze. Next, compare means. Then choose independent samples t-test. Again, for independent t-test, just click analyze. Next, compare means. Then independent samples t-test. So for our test variable or variables, our factor here is the test anxiety. And for our grouping variable, our factor is the gender. So why gender is considered as the grouping variable? Because our gender is defined into two groups, which are for our group 1, the male, and for our group 2, the female. Okay, so just click continue. Just like what we did on the dependent t-test, we also need to make sure that we will follow the significant level na ginamit doon sa study na kinuha natin. So for this, the study used 0.05 as the significant level. Okay, so just click the word options to modify the significant level. So the confidence interval percentage here is 95%, which is just equivalent to 0.05 significant level. So just click the word continue, then okay. So let's wait for the output. Okay, so the output for independent t-test is composed of two tables. We have the group statistics and independent samples test. The table for group statistics revealed that for male, we have 16 respondents, and for female, we have 14 respondents with an overall total of 30 respondents. So we need to copy this two table, right click and click the word copy, just like this one. Okay, so we highlighted equal variances assumed, and the most important variable na meron tayo dito is the value of the significant level at two-tailed, which is 0.845. And then we also need to formulate our null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. For our null hypothesis, the test anxiety for both male and female are equal. And for our alternative hypothesis, the test anxiety of male is not equal to female. Next, the value of our alpha is 0.05. Based on the result of our significant value here, 0.845, it the table showed that the null hypothesis is not rejected. Why? Because our significant value 0.845 is greater than the value of our alpha, which is 0.05. Again, the table showed that the null hypothesis is not rejected because the p-value 0.845 is greater than 0.05. Therefore, for our conclusion, hence, there is no significant difference on test anxiety between male and female at alpha 0.05. They have no significant difference because our null hypothesis is not rejected. That ends our SPSS tutorial regarding independent and dependent t-test. I hope that you learned something. Thank you for watching.